Okay, and so I don't think we'll take the whole time, but if we take the whole time, we get lunch. Okay. Well, no, you can sit here until 11 and get lunch.
Lunch comes at 11.
Yeah, lunch comes at 11, so you have a goal. Stay till 11. Okay, so we're here for the EFRI. We're recording it today because it was very quick turnaround, and we'll make sure that this information is available to friends and family if you want to distribute it widely. So a bit about the EFRI program. So you saw the advert for the event. It is pretty, well, so watch this. I can do this. So these are the important words, right? Of engineering, research, and innovation. And then you also have interdisciplinary, transformative, new research directions, significant progress, and it's the signature activity. So it's a really big program with lots of attention on it. Let's see, it just goes. Can I do this? Oh. Interesting. Okay. So thank you, Kellyanne, for compiling this. I think if you look at the program, the takeaway from this slide is that it is growing, that it is kind of finding its feet underneath it, that they are significant chunks of money. At least that was my takeaway. And another way to look at this, oh, and then we have 3 people who have actually won EFRIs. BJ, Zach, and Richard King in Quest. I know for a fact, I'm pretty sure Zach would share his experience with the program. We didn't have time to bring him in, but we can. I talked to him before, and he would happily share his experience. I can also reach out to BJ and Richard to see if they're up for sharing as well. But this is kind of interesting too. I know the reference wasn't here, but it's that middle range. So I can fix it. So the blue is greater than $1 million awards. The red is less than 500K, and this middle is this middle range. So the green is 800. Was it 500? This is less than. It was greater than 500. Oh, I am too close. No, whiteboard craziness.
Smartboard is smarter than you.
Yeah, he said don't get close to it.
The bottom.
Oh no, now I broke it. Oh man. Okay, good. I'll also do this.
On the bottom,
On the
like
bottom?
a center thing.
Where?
Looks like a compass.
This one?
No, more in the middle.
This one? You're right.
Mental notes, never tried to teach in this room.
Yeah.
Oh, got
Oh, okay.
There we go.
I'm walking away. Okay, so the middle range, the green is the middle range, right? So what the takeaway from this slide for me is that we are seeing a kind of a bifurcation where you're getting smaller projects and larger projects, right? And that's intriguing. I saw no pattern, no other takeaway, so you are welcome to do whatever you need to with this data. But I think it's what I see is a program getting its feet under it, right? And it's becoming more. I got it. Thanks. Actually, Tara got it, I think. Great. So the other thing to note is that the topics the past several years, they're all, from my understanding of the program, they're driven by input from the community. So one way to think about this too, and what we're doing with the ideas machine, is to think about it as a way to influence your sponsor early on. So if you have perhaps an idea that can be moved through the pipeline so that you're a topic in 2021, another way to think about this, or a topic in 2022. But these are the previous topics, so you wouldn't want to, I mean, there's obviously some repeat here, and I think that it's interesting that they're asking for feedback.
For the 2019 already set then?
That's what is open right now. Oh, so these are this is what's open for next year. So next year's solicitation
Is
These are 20.
so
let's make for 2020.
yeah, these were just awarded, and so 2019 is open right now.
But do we know what the topics are?
Hold on a second. No. So 2019 isn't open. So I think they're skipping a year?
No, those topics are for 2 years.
Yeah, so every 2 years?
That's what it's looked like.
Yeah.
14, 15.
So then this one repeats for 2019, and then the 2020. So the call right now is for fiscal year 20. Okay, and this is the latest solicitation from 2018. And then I have 2018 awards. So these were the awards that were made, excluding the Eagers and AAA fellowships. So when they program code it, they pay for lots of things out of this program code. So we pulled most of those out and focused on the ones that have EFRI on them, right? So, okay. I did not do a poll of the architects of these proposals. So if you want to know who is winning them and what their position is, I would recommend doing that. Now, that's only important if you're looking at how they position themselves for these topics. Unlike the Muri, well, I'll stop. Okay, so this is just data, and I'm just introducing the concept of it. And this is the extent of what I know. So they have currently, in 2018, 5 soft robotics and 3 CEs, something and other things. This call is for 2020 solicitation. So per your point, Laurel, this is for the next cycle out, right? And the purpose of this meeting is simply to position you to think about how you're going to influence the sponsor for your topic of choice. It's not complicated. However, it's a bigger program, so you will have to think larger scale. The process is a non-confidential topic submission of 500 words covering 4 subheadings that I'll go through next. Importantly, if you're selected, so hundreds of people will probably put in for this. And if you're selected, there's going to be 10 ideas. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 10 ideas that are invited, it's not there. So 10 ideas will be invited to go back to NSF and present at the end of the year. And then the last sentence is, this is a clear opportunity to lay the groundwork for your research concepts at the NSF. That's my ad, because if you have a very compelling idea and you get invited to present, you might not end up being a topic selection for 2020, but you could be in the hopper for something else. Okay. And then this is a very tight space to operate in. Hi, Julian. I'll play with some animation. It is a SurveyMonkey submission. You have to include your name, institution, and additional proposers. This is intriguing too, because these are bigger concepts, right? So you probably work within a framework or a network of other scientists and engineers who will be interested in the same topic. So you might want to ask yourself if it helps if you put in a topic with other people and strategize around who's proposing what and who appears where. And there are 3 keywords. You have to choose those keywords very seriously. Okay. So in the 500 words, you have to cover your introduction, your transformative characteristics, your national need, grand challenge, and your engineering leadership. You can, these are going to be, it suggests to me that they're going to be blindly read and then only tagged back to the submitter afterwards. So I think you have a clear shot if you can make your case in those 500 words without alluding to anything specific about yourself, focusing on what the drive is for that topic. So and this just goes through what you need to provide. Because they ask a lot of those 500 words, you have to obviously provide, or you can read it.
Which is about the same as a page, right? 1 page worth of content.
Is it 1 page even?
1 page single spaced, I think it's about
500 words?
words.
Okay. 1 page, single spaced, because I was even thinking it was smaller.
Yeah.
Okay. With the headers. But
So this is the within the engineering directorate, right?
funded through the engineering directorate, and I was gonna, there's one more slide, but it's a good, where you're going. There. So it's a possible role for the engineering director is funded out of the engineering directorate. But there's another side that says if you're going to have collaborators, which it is encouraged, then you need to think about how you're going to collaborate. And I'm gonna run through this solicitation that shows you how interdisciplinary it is. So although it's run through the directorate, you do need to clearly state your interdisciplinarity. But you always, so I'm going to point out 2 things that we train faculty for. This national need, this is a benefit statement. We actually train faculty to write in benefit statements, and that's how you start your proposal. So it's you will gain the following aspects from this work. This is understanding your customer. So you're promoting the engineering directorate and NSF. So this whole paragraph needs to be all about the NSF. So you need to understand, clearly articulate your understanding of what the NSF is trying to achieve. And then the bottom sentence reflects landscape analysis. So who else is funding this? RPE, IARPA, who else? That is not a negative. From what I see, that they will partner and they will leverage that information. They will leverage investments in this particular solicitation and project and program with other agencies. Okay, so then I took the solicitation example and I just pulled out some key topics, right? The lead principal investigator must be full-time tenured or tenure track. So you can be at whatever level in the organization. And a minimum of 1 PI and 2 co-PIs must participate. So when you think about what idea you're submitting, this is what you're tracking for a program to develop your proposal. So if it's just you and you own the idea, it will probably be less compelling to the NSF. However, it's you plus a couple other people, and you can create a network out of it. Then that's where the direction of the EFRI is going. And this one is a reflection of it's going to be funded through engineering directorate, so we want to see our faculty in engineering on the program. But it doesn't say if that person is a co-PI, it's okay, or PI. There is no organizational limit, so it wouldn't be run through limited submissions, but principal investigators and other people can only put in 1 proposal per year. So if you're collaborating, so if you go in with an idea with 2 other collaborators, you have to then negotiate that relationship so that you know in the end who's going to be leading this proposal. And it doesn't have to be all solved, but you should be aware of it.
But this is for the proposal, not for the idea, right?
Correct. This is not for the
you
idea.
can submit it.
But if you're going to track for that goal of if you're going to put in a topic and you're aiming for an actual proposal, that's your goal.
That's the, I see.
Yeah.
So that's a limitation. But then you don't. I mean, they're going to invite you to submit it. If they don't invite you,
If they don't invite you, don't worry about it.
that's right.
Yes.
So,
But when you're framing your topic,
yeah.
it has to be broad enough that you can fit this role. This, like, because your objective as a PI is to get there. This is a way, we call it influencing the sponsor. This is a way to clearly communicate to the sponsor that you are ready to write this proposal now.
Right. But for the idea submission,
You don't need,
cannot even specify your own name, right?
you do in the idea submission, in your 500 words,
Yeah.
you don't include any personal information.
Oh, okay.
And you do tag your name plus any collaborators to the idea,
I see.
but the idea itself remains separate as a separate field.
So those 500 words, are all of them going to be published later, or
They
is
are
it-
non-confidential, so you
That's the
have
problem. So you're kind of giving away your idea.
correct. So it's in the best interest to know who's your competition and who wants to collaborate with you, and you also want to be compelling and open enough that
You
they're
wanna-
intrigued.
Yeah. So you want to write why, right? What's the problem? But you probably don't necessarily want to say.
But your
exactly-
why is the third paragraph. Your why is if you look at, well, let's get through that and then we'll dissect what the why is. So again, you're looking at further down the road. So, and then I put this up, again, ancillary information, but if your goal is the goalpost is in front of you, this is the goalpost. Look at how much time you have to develop your proposal, right? So if you're gonna do an EFRI, even if somebody comes out with a topic that's resonant with your research and you want to propose, if you haven't submitted the topic, you're already at a disadvantage, that's fine. But if you're going to submit a proposal, you should also look at what the stages are to apply. Okay, so then you do it again, you let them know that you're going to apply, and then you only have 5 pages of project summary. So you're still doing little hoops to explain your giant idea that's on the emerging frontier of research and innovation. So I just want to be clear is that this is a long game. This topic submission is a long game because you're gonna have 2 more years of topics. Whoever submits the most compelling topic goes to NSF, talks about it, then it becomes a topic and then they roll it over to 2 years. You have an opportunity to submit, get feedback, submit again, and then if you get invited to full, then you're looking at 2021. So it's all part of the long game here. Okay. This one is in the current solicitation. And so as you're planning, and I thought that this would key in nicely with the 500 words, even just a sentence, they spend a lot of time talking about all of the programs you can leverage for broader impact, for inclusion. We also know that this is one of the big ideas, one of the 10 big ideas that NSF is championing. So if you've looked at the big ideas, there's conversions, there's a bunch of other stuff, and then there's includes, and that's access to everybody in STEM. Like everybody should have access to STEM. If you can keyword it in there somehow, I don't think it would hurt you. Again, long game. It also helps you think about how your research works in that environment. This is, I think, required reading at some point when you're looking at this program. All of the programs they specifically call out in the EFRI solicitation should be required reading.
So for 2019 program, then the deadline for white paper has already passed.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was announced. I didn't find anything.
Yeah, I haven't noticed anything.
So I don't see anything. So and I'm not going to judge the NSF right now.
So I just have a question. If you submit an idea, if you're invited, then you can skip the white paper.
No,
No?
you have to do all of this.
So you still have to do this.
Yes, the entire objective of submitting a topic is to lay the groundwork for your idea to show up in this solicitation in 2 years. Long game.
But if they invite you, what's the point of writing a white paper? they're going to invite you to submit a proposal anyway.
No, they won't. No, there's nothing guaranteed
Oh,
What
so
they're
So
looking
they
for-
invite 10 topics and they're trying to select 2,
out of those 10. Right.
and then those
And-
2 topics become.
Okay.
And I don't have this data and I have no way of knowing, but NSF would never say that they are obligated to award proposals based on the topic. If it was your topic, but I got a better proposal from, Sandra Brown, I would probably award her because she's got it. She might have taken your topic and taken it a whole new way. And I like what I see there.
Hey, your topic is almost, you're presenting the problem. You're not actually giving them the solution right now.
Correct.
This is
The
one
national
problem
need.
worth studying.
And when you look at the CE and soft robotics, those are simply lines, right? The topics are simply statements. Chromatin and epigenetic engineering. That's a topic, right? They spend some time in the solicitation describing what those topics are, but they have spent a year and a half potentially describing those topics in the solicitation. This is classic influencing your sponsor. Description, sorry about that. Okay, broader impacts. And then what I wanted to do was then go through, it's not a specific research idea that you're presenting. To Laurel's point, she should be doing this presentation. It is, what are these 4 characteristics of your idea that are important for the topic selection? Okay. That's what the takeaway is. So it's not, and you have to do it before October 31st. And they won't open this call again for another 2 years, right? So once they determine the call, they're solid, and they spend the 2 years. They spent this, in December they'll call you and have you present, determine what the solicitation looks like in the next 6 months after that, and then roll it out.
Yeah. So for the 3 lucky guys you showed earlier from ASU, did they submit an idea or they just simply respond to?
I don't know. I haven't asked, and I will. I haven't had time. But that is a good question, and I'm sure that they would be able to tell me. What I think, if you look at the people who won and their topic ideas, because it was 2015 and 2016. So Zach was 2016. So Zach and Richard King are part of Quest, which does the
Which program?
solar.
I'm not even sure which one it would have been.
Oh, yeah. Was it New Light? Acoustic wave propagation? Ooh, I don't know.
I thought this, yeah,
And this is
Either
VJ.
one could have been.
So this one's VJ, right?
Swans VJ, yes.
Yeah. So
Because-
VJ, and then I know that I don't know. Because doesn't Zach do
I think it could be either one.
transferring energy through light gains and things like that? So
Yeah.
I could look it up. Actually, I have it. What am I saying? I have it.
Do you know those 3 people won this Efri as PI?
Uh-huh.
PJ doesn't do anything on this treating material.
That's right. That's right.
I don't think he's,
So
no, PJ is all about power systems.
it's power system. It's another material.
No, not
It's
at all.
another materials.
There is something mismatch.
Actually, 2016.
There's Zach.
Also responsible.
So Zach.
Some of the white paper was.
Oh, you can't see this, can you?
That's for this slide.
Okay, so VJ. Oh, this is really hard. So Zach
That's
says
it's easy.
Zach's is here. So it's thermal transport. It was a
Thermal
2 dare,
Oh,
right? And then he was 2016 as Richard King.
The
Here.
award date and the topic dates are offset.
Yeah,
If he
I
was
think
two there,
there's
that was
a
2015 topic. That was
Okay.
a 2016 award.
so maybe it's time.
Yeah.
So, but do we have Richard King?
Yes.
Richard King. Oh, he was the weird one. I wasn't sure about that. So it was a CRISP type 2, and it was funded out of CBET, but
Yeah,
then
I don't think it's
they
a-
funded up, so it's not an
It's
EFRI.
not.
But Zach is, and then VJ is here, so he's an acquirer. So VJ's an acquirer, and Holman is 2 dare.
Really, this would have been taxed.
This is, again, we didn't have a lot of time to clean it up. We just wanted to kick off the idea. You're more than welcome to cruise all through, even if you look at the EFRI awards database and the map, it's all kind of kooky-doo. But you're more than welcome to dig through it.
This non-confidential information, that 500 words of information is not going to be exposed to the general community, right? It
There's
can
no
be
guarantee.
shared within NSF to evaluate.
So they clearly state non-confidential. So I would take it at face value and not put in sensitive information.
In order to facilitate broad discussions, topics will not be confidential.
I would take it at face value. I think there's a reason they put it in.
To share with everyone. So.
And it might be that, so again, a chance to influence your sponsor and think about if they share it with partner organizations and they can find opportunities to co-fund programs. That might be a discussion that they have because we know that they do that. Right? So they might have this one is co-funded through AFOSR, right?
The current solicitation?
Huh? The current solicitation, the one from 2017, 17578 is co-funded. So it's run through the Director for Engineering, Director for Biological Sciences, Director for Computer and Information Sciences and Engineering. So it's, and you don't know, the other thing to think about is you don't know how they're going to configure the next call. They might have a director they want to work with, but that's unknown to you. And then AFOSR, so Air Force.
In fact, this two-year program, that's like 2016, 2017, that was also co-funded by Air Force.
Okay.
Then is there
The
any
CE
strong link of this Efri with
Air Force
Office of
priorities?
Research?
You are welcome to look. I have not looked. So I'm sure Zach can tell you his experience with if it was co-sponsored or co-funded or was interested, because it might be that they're just interested in what comes out of the technology, right? So I think when you look at sponsor and how they want to leverage and make their dollar go farther, it makes sense that they would take these non-confidential ideas and ship them around and say, look, we think we've been working for 2 years on this with you. What do you think about going in on us? And then highest bidder wins, right? They have had an influx of money that is, if you look at how they're spending it, it's interesting. It seems to be a little bit of a pet project fund in a way, because they're funding the AAAS fellowships out of this program. So it's a intriguing, but the AAAS found fellowships might be interesting because they might see a connection with what's the emerging science, who are the big leaders coming out of that program. So it's maybe worth their $14 million to see what's going on there.
Do you know who is actually reviewing those 500 words?
Not a clue. And they don't, I think they just say generically within NSF who's reviewing it. I think it's just, I think it's across directorates. It's obviously going to be led by the Directorate of Engineering. I think we can safely say that. I can also put in a call to Rachel and see if she has any, Rachel Levinson's our DC contact, and see if she has any insights as well. But again, this is just a kickoff to get you guys thinking about it.
All right, question and a comment. First question, did they actually do this RFI a year ago or 2 years ago?
I feel like I've seen this EFRI a lot. I know I've
just sort of
applied.
looked,
Yeah, thanks.
Google tells you that looks like one was posted in 2012 and
Yeah.
one was 2014. I didn't
Something
see
from 2 years ago.
2016, but
And the last time I honestly looked at this program was when I was at Biodesign with Bruce, because Bruce Rittman has applied in the past. So
Because for the last one, I know the program manager Jordan Bird did the soft robotics thing. And I know that he never actually asked for ideas. He came up with his own idea and then asked for someone actually from ESU to give him some material describing it. So I don't think that they had all.
So then maybe that's why, yeah.
I saw 2012.
They don't actually say those.
Yeah, Tara just said, she's like, there's no guarantee that they'll use the ideas. There's no guarantee that they'll ask 10 people to come. And there's no guarantee that those 10 people then influence the topic. But this is just a fantastic experience to go through. Like the same with the big ideas discussion, right? The big ideas or the idea machine is to get thinking about what are the big problems and how can we put it, influence NSF to push that agenda, right?
So that was my comment. This is a request for ideas. It's not for proposal.
Correct.
So, I mean, and
It's not even ideas, it's
exactly
topics.
the same yes, we can have exactly the same topic. We can say, oh, soft robotics is really important. So let's all figure out something to write, right? So what I don't understand is why you need to put your name and your team in this topic, because it's a topic. I mean, I might be interested in nuclear or something that I have no idea. But I think it's a really hot topic right now, and I think I should go after that. So why I need to come up with a team that will address a topic? If it's only a topic, it's not a really proposal.
I think they're leaving the door open, right? And I can show you the Survey Monkey. It's not much. It's just a field that you enter, and it's an optional field for the co-proposers. Okay, so I think they're just leaving it open. Because why wouldn't you? If you have a really good idea.
If you and a bunch of your friends to submit the
Same idea.
You know, oh my God, 10 people are interested in this thing, and it's fantastic.
And it would also be intriguing to see if ASU could put in multiple topics, right? And the School of Engineering, right? Or engineering schools. If that was because we have so many people doing so many different things. It's the same with the idea machine. That if you have people who think at scale and you are keeping it yourself, that's not helping anybody, right? So if you want to talk about these large, big ideas, find every way you can to influence your sponsor to start acting out on your conception of what a big idea is. So that's the other feedback is for the topics. You should consider putting in, because it's number one, it's good practice. It's not going to hurt. Nobody's going to say it's a dumb idea. They just won't answer you, right? So, and you could conceivably pitch the same topic. Say we're not done yet. You've only awarded 5 people and we're not done. Or some angle of soft robotics.
So the self-robotics is still open now?
Not that I've seen. This is the most recent one. I mean, she's Googling. You can double check me, Floral. But yeah, so this one closed. The full proposal was due in February, so just this year. So they're still behind.
There's one more year.
There's one more year.
This is for 2 years, right?
This idea is for 2020. The idea is in 2 years. And then even if you don't get a response, it might be you come back again in 2 years and you do it again and you have a bigger threshold or a bigger idea, right? So again, long game.
I don't see a 2019.
No, I don't see it. I've not done much.
If this is
Okay.
heavily focused on the engineering directorate, then computation-based, hot topic of machine learning or artificial intelligence are not likely the core of this call because they are considered, well, in typical academic units, this computer science engineer, computer science are within engineering.
Yeah.
Yet in NSF, they have different director called sites. Then if this program is run by engineering directorate, my guess is they want to facilitate engineering, not the other side.
But I would, contrary to that, and evidence to the contrary of that is that it has to be interdisciplinary. And the engineering faculty can be PI or co-PI. So I think that one of the things this program in particular doesn't focus on, I think they want all the credit for running the program, as they all do, out of engineering, and they want it to be successful. But I don't think that they have the hang up for a designated engineering discipline to lead it. And I think we can do some more digging, but at this point I don't think it's potentially not worth it, because if you do, and I honestly, I don't care either way. We could do more digging. We could run it through competitive analysis, but we don't have enough time. October 31st, right? So, and we could guess at where they're going. But I think that the idea should focus more on the emerging frontiers part and less on is it an engineering question. They do ask about grand challenges versus, which is a uniquely engineering concept, or national need. So you could go in with both, or either, I guess.
I think for our faculty, 2 informations may help them to formulate their idea to submit. One is the list of formal topics.
To not repeat.
Yeah, not to repeat.
That's all on the website.
The other one is the 4 sections that they gotta focus on writing on the 500 word.
also on the DCL.
So the thing is, you have too much information here. All of them are great informations, but from faculty perspective, those two are probably the two key messages that they need to get in order to make a competitive this 500-word document.
I agree, but I think you also need, I am not seeing anybody on campus actually getting a topic. Instead, I'm thinking of this as a training opportunity to say, how do you structure your communication with NSF so that you can think 2 years down the road? So yes, immediately, you can submit whatever the heck you want, and those 4 headers need to be satisfied. But if we're talking long game and we're trying to socialize faculty and thinking long, then it goes to the multi-university research initiative, the MURI, the DoD MURI. If you want to socialize your sponsor, you have to think long game. What is your idea going to end up as? Not just checking the boxes for the submission. Because that's all in the DCL, right? And on the program page. Okay, so that's, I mean, essentially it.
And
I
it
think
can't be anything else that another NSF program has already performed.
yeah, so if you, well, yeah. So Tara said it can't be anything else that we're already exploring in other directorates. So you can definitely check your idea against the awards database at NSF as well, and that would help you. So something you're currently funded for. I can definitely, I think that I can ask for a little snippet from Zach to say what his experience was and see if he can synopsize that and send it out as an email as well, or update this event. But I mean, it could be that he's like, no, I just saw the topic, really liked it, and submitted. So that gets you where you want it. Just think of the alternative there. But he is very forthcoming about his experience, so I don't hesitate. I wouldn't hesitate to contact him. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it is a lot of information, but I really want to encourage you guys to think long game. And the other thing is, in 15 minutes, lunch comes. So if you want to stay, please do, because we've ordered enough sandwiches for 15 people. The other idea that I had was that we could do similarly to what we did for the idea machine. And if you do have an idea for one of the Big 10 ideas, I want to encourage you to submit that as well. But those are even bigger than these, right? And they're not emerging frontiers, but they're kind of national concepts. You could.
What's the difference?
Well, they're bigger. So the 10 ideas, the current 10 big ideas for NSF are initiatives that the NSF is organizing their research portfolio and investments under, right?
It's kind of
this, if you look at the specificity, is grand challenges. Right now, 5% of the world are, well, let's use the solar example, is that the efficiency on solar cells is not as high as it could be. That's a grand challenge, right? So increasing the efficiency of materials is a grand challenge. It's a very specific thing. And solar voltaic cells is a very specific thing. You can say that's important to understand, because then it's relatable to these other disciplines or other tests or examples that we have. But as a concept, the efficiency of solar voltaic cells is not something that's as broad as every person in the United States needs access and the ability, if they want to get experience with STEM, which is the NSF includes. So when you look at the NSF includes mission statement, it's that every student can have, if they want, an experience with STEM. Big, right? So it's not how they get their experience. It's not studying the photovoltaic. It's not getting lab experience. It's they need the opportunity to do this.
So the way that I see it, the two different mechanisms is this. As a perspective of researchers, when you submit your idea this, they have a set of the program, has a budget approved, and they're going to move forward. So if you put your idea there and you get selected, you have higher chance to execute your idea for this program. For NSF big idea, it's not. It's not. There's no dedicated program to be released upon your input. They are collecting ideas. Now there are big differences as a perspective of faculty. We put our effort and time to influence our sponsors, yet the return, what we expect is the program return. This one does have a clear return and has a track record of a return.
Has a potential,
right?
For, yeah.
But for the NSF big idea, it's very vague.
And when I talk to other ADRs in other schools, they're saying the same thing. Well, they're trying to collect the idea, but we don't do it because there's no clear return of the providing idea from NSF down the road. So that's a clear difference. Now, another clear difference is this one is only $2 million maximum. The NSF big idea, they're trying to get their idea towards a much bigger program, like a scale of ERC and STC.
Bigger.
So the potential of a hit of that NSF big idea could be bigger. In fact, a lot bigger than this one. So it's up to you, which you want to target for specifically, established program like this, or you could go for a much bigger idea. Now, that much bigger idea has some elements to get engaged because, when you propose idea for STC, it's got to be much more broader than this one, right? So there's a clear pros and cons.
Absolutely. I would also only add that the idea machine gives you the ability, again, to influence sponsor. The duration of influence might be longer, and you have to keep up the pressure, right? So there is a chance that somebody will read your idea and say, that's a really great idea, let's put it in the hopper over here. But it's minuscule. The big ideas is a minuscule chance of anything happening.
And also for Efri, they're looking at mainly within engineering, right? And they're specified that at least one of PR or COI has to be College of Engineering, right? So it is within engineering. Of course, they foster ideas from other multidisciplinary, but it is core part of engineering. For the big ideas, they're looking for more science. It's a national science foundation. They're looking for the science that they can make their vision a broader, impactful in the future. So if you look at the budget structure, you know what? Science is a good thing, but what I look at money. If you look at the budget structures of science versus engineering the past 10 years, science has grown tremendously, whereas engineering is relatively constant. So what that means is, NSF perspective, the science, virtue of science in size has been proven to be bigger than that of engineering. Okay. So when you respond to these big ideas, you got to focus on science rather than specific techniques or engineering approach. That's my take.
Regardless, you have to do some research on your sponsor. But I think that's what that suggests, right? So you've done and looked at funding buckets. You could look at how each of them overlap. You can look at the NSF strategic plan, see where the investments are coming from in future, right? And what programs have recently been released. Like, so quantum is a really big hot topic, but they've released a recent solicitation, so maybe they're pouring all their money into that. Or maybe not. Maybe they're just going to do different investments. So do you guys, and then I've also worked on teams that have prepared, like Bruce Rittman prepared an Efri. And so that experience, and was, I think, invited a full. So it was a good experience, but it's old. Do you guys are you motivated? You don't look motivated.
Just tell them the idea.
You look, yeah. I know. So one option too is we can do a facilitated discussion, which I often do, which is if you have a topic idea, we can crowdsource it and help kind of bolster it based on those 4 concepts of what you need to submit, right? So these 4 things. And the structure is such that you would, we would sit at the table with 7 of you, 2, 4, 6, 8. And you could tell your topic, idea, or even it's just a general idea, explain it. The group would ask clarifying questions, and just clarifying, no judgment. And then you turn around and we discuss it as a group to say, and we take each of those in turn and discuss each of those in turn on your topic. You take notes as you're turned around because you're not interacting with us in any way, shape, or form. You come back and you say what you found helpful or needed clarification on. It's a really powerful technique to articulate your idea and get non-expert and expert feedback along these concepts, like along these lines. And we wouldn't record it, obviously. And it would stay in the room. We could all, sign a secret pact. So it's the next step, and we could do it over lunch and sit and chat. It's an option, and I've done it on certain ideas that I have, and it's been very powerful for me to do it. And we could rotate it around. You could do it for any idea you currently have. It doesn't necessarily have to be an EFRI, but this allows us to have that structure to allow you to think higher level about your idea. So that's what I got on offer. Alternatively, you can just wait for lunch. But it is a fun experience. For those of you guys didn't do the big idea, we did something similar to the big idea concept, and it's fun to try and think higher, think bigger. So it's a great experience. And it's a friendly room, so you might want to try it. So I leave it up to you. Oh, did we? Oh, hey. Oh, if you're online, we can also include you. Sorry, I didn't realize we had somebody online. The structure of the discussion is such that you can include people online. Anyway? No? Yeah. Yeah, take a chance. You want to try it? It's a fun experience. We can do an example for you. If that would decrease the weirdness of this. You want to try it?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So for those of you who are up for this, and I want to ask non-experts and experts, I want Tara, and then are you up for fun?
No, I will have to give it 5 minutes.
Okay, you can watch. Can you guys participate in the discussion? We're gonna run through a facilitated discussion. Okay, yes, no? Do you want to stay? You can stay. Perfect. Let's adjourn to the back room. For those of you online, would you like? Oh, who is online? I guess.
I don't know who that
I
is.
don't know who that is.
Is that this computer? Does anyone have?
No.
Maybe you can unmute this.
Yeah.
They might be.
Can you unmute yourself? If you're not online, I might.
L4.
I don't know. L4. Maybe not L4.
I don't know.
No.
The Google says Lindsay Forey, grant contract specialist.
Oh, are you GCO? In which case I can.
That's
kick
what
you off.
LinkedIn says.
Okay. Okay. Lindsay. Forey. Okay. She's just not.
Online stalking. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll keep it on just in case.
Still recording.
So I'll take
She's Lindsay Forey. You are muted. FYI.
Okay, so let's do this. It'll be fun, I promise. Oh, here it is.
Like on the bottom. Okay, there you go.